I'm just gonna remind everybody that this is my experience, not everybody's experience. I'm not trying to deter anyone from working at a facility, but I'm just giving you my experience as to why they are definitely not for me. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ciandra. I'm a new grad registered nurse. I was an LVN for 4 years and I have my cosmetology license, and I'm a mom of 2. This channel is going to be all things nursing, beauty, balancing nursing and being a mom, and just anything else. So if you're interested in any of those things, please subscribe. Today's video is going to be why I quit my new grad job at a facility. So during this video, when I'm referring to facility, I'm going to be referring to like long-term care, rehabs, SNFs, all of those type of places. They all are different in their own little way, but there's a lot of facilities that I worked at where they're kind of all in one. They had a rehab side, they had a long-term care side, they had a skilled nursing side. So I'm just going to kind of be referring them all in one as facility. I've basically worked at like a million of them. So a good chunk of my LVN experience was at a facility, or multiple, because I quit a lot. The other half of my experience was doing home health, and I can say that that was just so much better, but I don't like driving. So when I first graduated RN school, I applied to like a million hospitals, and I really wanted to get into a residency program, like a preceptorship, kind of like you're following a preceptor, you're in a residency program for about a year, and through that whole year you are learning, you are kind of taking baby steps into being an RN. So they're not just kind of like throwing you on the field. So I applied, I got the job, and I had to wait until August to start. I need to work. So in the meantime, I got a job at a facility. I live in California, and this facility is pretty well known. It's pretty popular. But again, I have worked at a million and one of them, and roughly they're like kind of all the same to me. It was okay at first, but then I was quickly reminded why I quit so many times as an LVN. I thought it was gonna be a lot different as an RN, but it's not. It's the same. The responsibilities are a lot different, but the atmosphere is the same. The toxicity is the same. Reason number 1 why I quit: cheap. They're so cheap, and I don't get why, because when you really look at how much they are revenuing, like, they are making a lot of money. The owners of these places, rich. They have a lot of money. This is healthcare. So anywhere that you have a 90-bed facility and each one of those patients are paying thousands of dollars a month to stay in that place, they're racking in the bank. But just compared to like hospitals, their resources are so limited. A lot of the places I worked at, they're just super old school. They rarely upgrade them. It doesn't look nice, it doesn't feel nice. And of course, there are places that are like more expensive and nicer, but I'm just talking about like across the board. They're not like fantastic. Like, it's 2023. Why are some of the beds in some of these facilities still crank up? That doesn't even make any sense. Why do the TVs still have a big butt on it? Why don't all the patients have like their own little phone on the side? And why do nurses have to provide their own vitals equipment? There's just no reason why I should have to bring my own blood pressure cuff or pulse ox. Like, I personally feel like those items should be present there because I need those things to do my job. And if I come there without those things and I can't properly take a blood pressure and I can't get these vitals, then it's on me. I do feel like these places should be providing those things. Also, they're cheap with the nurses. Don't get me started on nursing week. Y'all know. With the pizza parties and the nachos and the little BS, it's just cheap. I know they make enough money to provide these bare necessities, so I just don't see why. It's like, come on, you gotta prioritize. That fountain that's running 24/7 in the front, did we need it? The fact that like the conference room and the admissions room looks fantastic, but the patients' rooms are like gross. Put money into the important thing. Reason number 2, it's just so toxic. I don't know, like the atmosphere, the environment, it feels very negative to me. And of course I'm going to experience that at hospitals as well. But I just feel like I have worked at 6 facilities. I've only worked at one that was like, wow, this is actually a really nice place. Like I actually feel cared about. But majority of them, no. Reason number 3 why I left long-term care, and this is not all places because I have worked at some places that work 12-hour shifts and that have set schedules. When I was working as an LVN, the schedule was usually 4 on, 2 off, and it was 8-hour shifts and it alternated. I hate that. I don't really get it because it makes them need more employees. That's 3 different shifts instead of 2 different shifts if we work 12-hour shifts. And you guys are already short-staffed, so like, why? But I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't like the schedule. I don't like the 2 on, 4 off. I felt like that was really inconvenient. And of course, it's set, so you can kind of anticipate what days you're gonna be off for the next forever. It just made my life like really hard to plan around. And I don't know, I just didn't like it. Reason number 4 why I quit long-term care. Management is terrible. I don't get it. Super unorganized. They're really not helpful. They can be rude and just condescending. They will see that like the floor is a shit show, but they will leave. And the thing about it is most of the higher ups, like the DON, the ADON, the administrator, all of them are nurses, but they will see like the floor drowning. Super unsafe nurse to patient ratios, and they will leave you like that and go home knowing that they could get on the floor and they could help. They're sitting in their office, and of course everybody has a job, everybody has like specific things to do, but I personally feel like as management you should be able to pick up the slack if you see that a nurse has 45 patients. And there's a lot of them in the office. They'll just watch the dumpster fire. Of course, not all of them. I have worked with DONs, ADONs, administrators, all of them that are willing to get on the floor, that are willing to take a cart. They're willing to help as a CNA. They're just willing to help with anything. Like, I don't care if it's talking to the doctor, answering the phone calls when the patient family is calling. But there are some that will see that it is a hot mess and they won't do anything. They won't call registry because they don't want to pay for the extra staff. Number 5, why I left long-term care. Nurse to patient ratios are ridiculous. Of course, this is not everywhere. Everywhere is different, so don't be coming for me. I can tell you only one that like maintained safe nurse to patient ratios, and they were even like not really safe, like 1 to maybe 10 patients. That was like the best that I've seen, 1 to 8. But some of the facilities that I've worked in, I think the most amount of patients I had by myself was 45. As an LVN, my like everyday range was like 25 to 30. That was normal for me. If I had anything under 20, they would consider that like super low census. All 40 of those patients are mine. And that is insane to think that you can provide quality care to 40 patients. Can you imagine having 40 patients? 1 falls, 1 needs a pain medication, 1 is freaking coding, and the other one is asking for a breathing treatment. Do you know how stressful that is? That is just so stressful. As an RN, I didn't have to deal with that because I did not have like direct patients. I was mainly the IV nurse, and I basically was like the supervisor. So like I was at the desk and I was talking to the doctor, I was filling the orders, and then when I had to go give my IV medications, I did all of that. And I managed everything that had to do with IVs. If somebody needed a new line, or somebody needed to be bolused, that was me. But as an LVN, yeah, you have those 40 patients. Again, not everywhere. Everywhere is different, especially like every state is different. I'm in California, so I don't know if there's other states that have like laws, like nurse to patient ratio laws. California does for hospitals, but they really don't for long-term care. Like you can be in there with a bunch of different patients. And I really don't like that. Even when I was doing my rotation in RN school, when the nurses would be like, damn, I have like 5 patients today, I would be like, wow. Just the thought of having 5 patients blew my mind. I had never had 5 patients in my life. All these facilities, they're med-surg. So the fact that like med-surg maybe has 8 patients and then I'm an LVN and I work at a facility and I have 45 patients. And don't think that facilities have low acuity, because they don't. I've had patients that need blood transfusion, and yes, there are facilities that will do a blood transfusion. The one that I just quit was one of the ones that did blood transfusions. They need to be coded. There's a lot that are on hospice that are actively dying, so you are doing end-of-life care. There's falls, serious injuries, and of course if it gets bad enough, you do have to send them out to the hospital, but that does not mean that like every patient that walks in is just easy breezy, beautiful cover girls. Super high blood pressure, their respirations are at 10. And of course you can call 911, but in that moment you're the nurse. Like you're taking care of them. You're managing their care until they get transferred out. Like people die in those places. There are plenty of emergencies. There are plenty of high acuity patients. So the fact that you could potentially have 45 patients and some of them be high acuity, especially if you work at a facility that has a subacute where there are trachs, there are vents, there are G tubes, chest tubes, you're dealing with all of that. Literally anything, honestly. I don't feel like facilities are for me. Of course, we need nurses to work there. Those patients need to be taken care of, but they need to change drastically. Like there needs to be some kind of reform. In my eyes, they're not safe. A lot of them are not providing quality care. A lot of patients can go undermanaged. So I personally don't want to work there, and I just don't feel like it's for me. Again, for the people that might come for me in the comments, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from working at those places. I'm not saying those places don't need nurses, and I'm not talking down about anyone that works at those places and will continue to work at those places. All I'm touching on is why I quit, why I will probably never work at another facility again, and why they seriously need to do some changes. But yes, I did quit. I did finally find a hospital that had a close residency start date, and it's actually like 15 minutes away from my house, so it's perfect. I start that job next week, and I am like so excited. I'm gonna do a bunch of videos about that, nurse residency, new grad at a hospital, and I'm also gonna touch on the different places that I worked as an LVN too. LVNs should know like these facilities are not the only places they can work in. There's a lot of different places. There's home health. There are different kinds of home health. There's hospice. There are doctor's offices, dialysis, so many different things. So I'm gonna be doing a video on that. You're gonna be on this journey with me, and I'm gonna be letting you know anything that comes up, anything new that happens. So please subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be posting once a week. Thank you for watching. Let me know how you feel. Do you work at a facility? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Where do you want to work? What kind of changes do you think need to be implemented in these places? What kind of videos do you want to see next? Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Mwah.